For 209 years, every single leader of one of the world's most powerful banks was a man. 209 years. Think about that for a moment. That is longer than most countries have existed. And then in 2021, one woman walked into that office, sat down at that desk, and changed everything. Not with anger, not with noise, simply by being the most prepared, most capable, most ready person in the room. If you are learning English today, working hard, maybe feeling like the world does not always see what you are capable of, this story is for you. Jane Fraser was born in 1967 in St. Andrews, Scotland. St. Andrews is a small, beautiful city, famous for its old university and its cold, windy coastline. It is not a city of skyscrapers or Wall Street offices. It is a place of quiet ambition, deep thinking, and strong values. And Jane grew up with all three. From a young age, Jane was curious. She asked questions. She read. She listened carefully when adults talked about the world. Her family believed in education, and Jane took that belief seriously. She studied at Cambridge University, one of the most respected schools in the world. Later, she earned an MBA from Harvard Business School in the United States. These are two of the hardest schools to enter on the planet. Getting into one is remarkable. Getting into both. That tells you something about Jane Fraser. But here is what matters most. Jane did not study just to collect degrees. She studied because she genuinely loved understanding how the world worked, how money moved between countries, how businesses grew and fell, how decisions made in a boardroom could change the lives of millions of people. That curiosity, that deep and honest love of learning, would become her greatest strength. And she would need every bit of it in the years ahead. Jane started her career at Goldman Sachs, one of the most competitive banks in the world. Goldman Sachs is not an easy place to begin. It is fast, intense, and demanding. Every day you are surrounded by brilliant people who work incredibly hard. For a young woman from Scotland, stepping into that world for the first time, it was overwhelming. Can you imagine that feeling? Walking into a huge glass building in New York City, knowing almost no one, trying to prove yourself from zero? She felt the pressure. She felt uncertain. There were moments, surely, when she wondered if she truly belonged there. The finance world in the 1990s was not always welcoming to women. The rooms were full of men. The voices that got heard were mostly male voices. And Jane was young, foreign, and female in an industry that often underestimated all three of those things. But here is what Jane Fraser did not do. She did not become bitter. She did not become loud or angry. Instead, she became better. She worked harder. She learned faster. She paid attention to details that others missed. Every challenge she faced became a lesson. Every difficult moment became preparation. She was building something inside herself, a kind of quiet, unshakable confidence that no one could take away. She would need that confidence more than she ever imagined. The turning point in Jane Fraser's career did not come from one lucky moment. It came from years and years of proven results. After Goldman Sachs, she joined Citigroup, and over the following 2 decades, she rose through the company steadily and surely. She led major divisions. She managed businesses across Latin America. She helped Citigroup grow in new markets around the world. But the real test came during a very difficult time for Citigroup. The bank was struggling. It had grown too large, too complicated. It had problems in many countries at the same time. Many people inside and outside the company were worried. Some leaders before her had tried to fix the problem slowly, carefully, avoiding the hard choices. Jane took a different approach. She made bold decisions. She cut parts of the business that were not working. She simplified. She was direct and honest about what needed to change. This kind of leadership takes real courage, the courage to do what is right, even when it is uncomfortable. And the board of Citigroup, the group of people who decide who runs the company, watched her closely. They saw her results. They saw her calm under pressure. They saw her vision for the future. And in February 2021, they made their decision. On February 26, 2021, Jane Fraser became the CEO of Citigroup, the chief executive officer, the top leader, the most powerful position in a bank that had been founded in 1812. For 209 years, that position had never been held by a woman. Not once. And now, quietly and powerfully, history changed. Remember when she was that young woman from Scotland, walking nervously into Goldman Sachs for the first time? Now she was leading a bank with over 200,000 employees in more than 160 countries. From uncertain to unshakable. From unknown to unforgettable. The news traveled around the world in hours. Jane Fraser was on the front pages of newspapers. She was discussed on television programs, in business schools, in offices everywhere. Women in finance felt something shift. Young girls watching the news felt something new, the feeling that maybe, just maybe, those doors that had always been closed were now opening. But Jane Fraser did not stop to celebrate for long. She had work to do. She continued the difficult restructuring of Citigroup with calm determination. She made decisions that other CEOs had been afraid to make. She showed the world that being the first does not mean being the loudest. It means being the most effective. Under her leadership, Citigroup began a new chapter, simpler, stronger, and more focused. She proved every single day that the best person for a job has no gender. Only results. What does Jane Fraser leave behind for the world? She leaves more than just business results. She leaves a new picture of what leadership looks like. She showed that power does not need to be loud or aggressive. Power can be calm. Power can be thoughtful. Power can walk into a room without shouting and still change everything. She leaves one important lesson: preparation beats everything. Jane Fraser did not become CEO because she was lucky. She became CEO because she was ready. She had spent decades learning, growing, and proving herself. When the moment came, she was prepared. And she leaves a second lesson. History is not a wall. It is a door. 209 years of history felt unbreakable. But it was not. One prepared, determined, capable woman opened that door. Just like Jane Fraser, you are preparing right now. Every English word you learn, every video you watch, every time you try, even when it is hard, you are getting ready for your moment. My friends, maybe right now you feel ordinary. Maybe you look at successful people and think, that is not for me. I am not special enough. I am not ready. Jane Fraser probably had those thoughts too. Standing outside that Goldman Sachs building for the first time. Looking at an industry that did not look like her. But she kept going. She stayed curious, stayed focused, stayed true to herself. And one morning, 209 years of history simply could not stand in her way anymore. You have something powerful inside you right now. You are here. You are learning. You are growing. And that is exactly what Jane Fraser was doing every single day before the world ever knew her name. You are stronger than you think. Your moment is coming. If this story inspired you today, please give it a like. It means so much. And tell me in the comments, what is your dream? I read every single one. Subscribe to this channel for more stories like this, because every week we share real stories of real people who changed the world and remind you that you can too.